All right, so today we're going to take a look at 3.6. Okay, and we're going to solve some equations with formulas. Okay, three types of formulas we're going to use today. One of them has to do with profit. Okay, profit is when you make money. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about making money. Okay, next one we're going to look at is the formula that has to do with distance, rate, and time. All right, so for example, if I knew how far I had to drive and I knew how fast I was going, I could figure out how long it takes for me to get there. Okay, that's distance, rate, and time. And the last problem is a formula from geometry. Okay, formula from geometry. Okay, has anybody ever done any of these before? Maybe the geometry one, I'll show you what it is. It's going to have to do with a box. But distance, rate, and time, a couple people have done. Okay. Okay, so let's start off with a example about a school dance. Okay, so it says, suppose the dance costs $800 for the band and all the other expenses. Okay, tickets are $5 each to go to the dance. $5 each.
Wait, where are we supposed to write this?
And they sold 100 tickets. Okay, the question is there a profit? Okay, so we're going to come up with a formula, and we're going to use that to answer this question, which is pretty straightforward, and a couple others. Okay, first thing we need is a formula for profit. Okay, so on that sheet that Mr. Roy made for you, okay, you've got some blanks there, so you can fill in what each of the letters is going to stand for. Okay, so let me show you what the equation is for profit. Okay, anybody already know?
Money.
Okay, so let's look at it. What does the profit depend on for this dance? It depends on really three things. There's three things that affect the profit. Kayla?
The amount of people that go and or buy the tickets.
Yeah, so the amount of tickets you sell, that's one thing. What else about the tickets is important? Not just how many you sell, but how much they are, so the cost for each ticket. And what's the one other thing that affects the profit?
How many tickets there are.
So that's how many you sell and how much you sell them for. But what else affects the profit here? Is there any expenses the school has to pay for? Yeah, the expenses. Okay, so the school has to pay all the expenses. Right? So our formula for profit. And this you'll need for the test on Friday. It's N times T minus E. Now I'll tell you what each letter stands for. Okay, so you can write this on the sheet that Mr. Roy gave you if you want to put it there. N is number of tickets. Oh, they're just working on it. Okay, T is your ticket price. Okay, so you can put this right on the sheet Mr. Roy gave you.
Where on the sheet?
You could put it, you could write what each letter stands for, if you want. Okay, or if you have your notebook, you want to put it in that, that's fine too.
Wait.
E, what do you think E is going to be?
Expense.
Yeah, that's the expenses. Okay, so N is how many tickets you sell. T is the ticket price. And E is the expenses. So all we have to do is fill in all those variables and see if we make a profit. If the profit comes out positive, then we made money. If it comes out negative, what does that mean? You lost money, exactly. Okay, so let's look at our example. Yep, P's your profit. Okay, what's the $800?
That's to pay for band.
Expense.
Yep, that's your expenses. Okay, so let's fill that in. Expenses. We're gonna have to subtract 800 because we had to pay the band and we had to pay everybody else that came to the help with the dance. Okay, how many tickets did we sell? 100? And what letter does that get plugged in for? N. N is your number of tickets. And T. T is your ticket price. What's the ticket price? 5. Good. What's 100 times 5? 500. So the school sold $500 in tickets. It cost them $800 to hire the band. So what does this mean? How would you summarize what happened here? They lost how much money? Yeah, they lost 300. So to answer their question, is there a profit in this case? No. They lost $300. Tyler? Tyler? Yeah.
Where do you want us to put this?
You can put this in your notes, or you can put it on that sheet Mr. Roy gave you. Either way. Yep. Okay, so they lost $300. There's no profit. Okay, everybody have this formula?
Yes.
Okay. Let's try it on a different one. Okay, this one's a little different. It says this time the school is going to hire a band for $800. Okay, what's the $800? That's your expense. 200 tickets are sold. That's, what letter is that? N. Okay, that's your number of tickets. And now they want to know, how many tickets does the school have to sell to make $1,000 profit?
Just 200 tickets are sold.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, what should the price be? Thank you. What should the school charge for tickets? If they know they're going to sell 200 tickets, they know they want to make that much money, and they know the expenses. Okay, let's just use the formula and see what happens. Okay. What's our profit? How much money does the school want to make? $1,000. Yep. So you're going to fill in $1,000 for your profit. Okay. What's the number of tickets that we sell? 200. What's the price for each ticket? Yeah, that we don't know. That's the question. How much should each ticket cost? Okay, so ticket price we don't know. I'll just leave T as ticket price. And now we've got to subtract our expenses. What were the expenses to hire the band? 800. Okay, what would be my first step in solving that? Yeah, Austin? Plus 800. Okay, and plus 800. Okay. What's 1,000 plus 800? 1,800, good. And on the right-hand side, I still have what? Good, 200T. And Sam, what's my last step to get rid of this 200? Sorry, let me make it bigger. Okay, so my last step to get rid of that 200? Yep, divide 1,800 by what number? 200. Divide each side by 200. Okay, that cancels out. And Ben, what's that going to give me? 1,800 divided by 200. Well, cancel out your zeros. And then 18 divided by 2. 9. Okay, so in this case, if they know the school is going to charge $800, it's going to cost them for the band, they're going to sell 200 tickets, and they know they want to make that much money, they'd have to sell each ticket for $9. Okay, let's try one more. Okay, this time it says the school hires a band for $800. They're going to charge $5 a ticket, and the school wants to break even. What does that mean?
So they don't make a profit,
They don't make a profit,
but they don't.
They want anything.
but they don't lose anything, so the profit would be zero. Okay, so in this sentence right here, they're not saying that directly, but by saying break even, profit equals zero. Okay, profit equals zero. So now the question is, if they want to break even, tickets are $5, the expenses are $800, how many tickets does the school have to sell? Okay, so use the formula from the other page. P equals NT minus E. Fill in P, fill in T, fill in E, and solve for the number of tickets. Okay, so try that one on your own. See if you can figure out how many tickets the school has to sell. All right, first thing we got to do is figure out what's our profit in this case. How much is our profit? Zero. So I filled in that for profit. Okay. How many tickets do we have to sell?
5. Oh, wait,
Do we know how many tickets we're selling? No. How many tickets do we have to sell? There's our number of tickets. T, that's our ticket price.
5.
Ticket price is 5, yep. And now we're going to subtract our expenses, which are how much? Minus 800. Okay, what do we get when we do n times 5? How do we normally write that? 5n. Okay? What would be my next step to get n by itself? Add 800. Good. Add 800, because that's subtraction. Add 800. What, 0 plus 800 is 800. And Tyler, what's my last step?
Divide.
Yep, by?
5.
Yeah, divide by 5. Good. And then you do 800, divide by 5, and that's how many tickets you need to sell.
102.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, 160. Yeah. Yep, question.
I didn't set up the equation or anything. I just divided 5 by 800.
Okay, okay, guys. So somebody said they didn't set up the equation. Okay, so on the test, I want to make sure you're setting it up. Okay, because we're gonna do some problems from geometry in a minute. You're not gonna be able to do in your head about surface area. Okay, so let's take a look at distance, rate, and time. Okay? So distance, rate, and time, there's a formula. It's very similar to the other one, except it's distance equals rate times time. Okay? We're not talking about profit. We're not talking about number of tickets we're going to sell. Okay? What do you think the D stands for? Yeah, I picked a variable that made sense for distance. The R?
Rate.
That's your rate. Okay, that's how fast you're going. And T is your time. Okay, so D is distance, R is your speed or your rate, and T is your time. Okay, so on that sheet that Mr. Roy gave you, you probably want to fill in, what does D stand for? What does R stand for? And what does T stand for? Okay, each time I give you a problem like this, I'm going to give you 2 out of 3 of these variables. I'll either give you R and T, ask you to find D, or I'll give you D and R, you find T, or I'll give you D and T and you'll find R. But I'll always give you 2 out of 3. Any question on that formula? So this is the distance formula. Okay, this is for problems where you're traveling, okay, as Mr. Roy wrote it, okay, when we're traveling. All right, let's try one. Okay. It says, Sarah plans to ride her bike 6 miles, and she wants to ride 6 miles in 0.75 hours, so 3/4 of an hour. I want to know at what rate does she have to travel. So first thing I want to do is just write down what's D, what's R, what's T. The one they're asking about, we'll just put a question mark. Okay, so Isaiah, what's D?
6 miles.
Perfect. D is 6. Okay, what about my rate? Sivan?
175 hours.
Well, is hours a speed? No. Hours is that's a time.
I'm just guessing.
So we'll put that under time. So time is 0.75. The rate, we don't know. That's what they're asking for. Okay, what's the equation that has the D, the R, and the T in it? How's that look? We just had that on the other page.
Equals rate times time.
Good. Distance equals rate times time. My distance is 6. My rate, I don't know. My time, 0.75. Okay, what do you get when you do R times 0.75? How do we normally write that? Yeah, we normally write it as 0.75 R. It's the same thing. Okay, and what's my last step to get R by itself? Perfect. Divide by 0.75. Good. All right. So 6 divided by 0.75, we just use your calculator. And we get 8 miles an hour. Okay, so if she wants to travel 6 miles in 0.75 hours, she has to travel 8 miles per hour. That's the rate. Okay. Any question on that? Okay, so besides asking you guys to solve for the rate, what else could I ask you to solve for? Time or distance. Okay, let's try one where I ask you guys to find distance. This time it says George drives at 50 miles an hour, okay, for 8.5 hours. And what we'll do to keep it simple is we're just going to assume he stays at the same speed. Okay, because if he goes faster and slower, then that complicates it. Just say he drives at 50 miles an hour for 8.5 hours. How far has he driven? Okay, let's start with the 50 miles per hour. What is that? That's my rate. Good. How about 8.5 hours? What's that? That's my what? That's my time. And what are they asking me to find? Distance. Okay, how about Joey? What's my equation for distance, rate, and time? You don't have to fill in these numbers. Just tell me it with all the letters.
D.
Yep, D equals. Want to help him out? Isaiah?
4,250.
So D equals, what is it? What goes here?
4,200.
No, the variables for me.
R times D.
Yeah. All right, so he's jumping ahead, giving us the answer. Okay, so my distance equals my rate, which is 50, times my time. And Isaiah, what did you say that is? 4,000 what? Okay, so you just do 50 times 8.5, exactly. So you did 50 times 8.5? You got 4,000? So it's 425. Okay. What's my label? It should be 425. Keep in mind it's a distance. So yeah, miles. Okay? If you put miles per hour, or MPH as someone said, what's miles per hour? That's not a distance, that's a that's a speed. Okay. Any question on that? Okay, so try that one on your own. John's going to travel 125 miles at a speed of 25 miles per hour. Find out how long it will take him to travel it. So set up your equation, and then see if you can solve it. So what's my distance in this problem? How much, Marcus?
125 miles.
125 miles. What's my rate, or what's my speed? Spencer? 25? And the question is how long? That's my time. Okay, how do we solve that? Yep.
Divide 25.
5 by 25. How many times does 25 go into 125? 5 times. Okay, what's the label on that? 5 what?
5 miles.
Hours.
It's time. Time is in hours. Okay, 5 hours. Okay, so on the test, I'm probably going to give you one distance, rate, time problem. And I'll either have you find the distance, the rate, or the time. Okay, any question on that? All right. Okay, so last formula we're going to do is from geometry. Okay?
Geometry.
So we're going to look at the surface area of a rectangular solid. All right, so when you're finding the surface area of a rectangular solid, okay, what that basically means is if you were going to build this box, what's the area of each side of it? Add it up. Okay, Justin, how many sides are there in this shape? 6 sides. Okay, so it's got a top, it's got a bottom, front, back, left, right. Okay, each side is what shape? It's 6 rectangles, exactly. 6 rectangles all put together. Okay? Let's look at that. How about if you look at the side on the left and the side on the right? What do you know about those 2 rectangles if they're part of a box?
Smaller.
They're the same. Okay? The height and the width are the same. Okay? Height, width, that's what makes up the one on the left side and the right side. Okay, how about the rectangle on the top and the one on the bottom?
Same.
Yeah, they're the same. It has a length of L and it has a width. Okay. How about the rectangle on the front and the back?
Same.
They're also the same. Okay, so you have 2 of every side. Top and bottom are the same, left and right are the same, front and back are the same. And how do you find the area of a rectangle? What do you do? So that's the volume. Area of a rectangle. Yeah, you multiply the 2 dimensions. Length times width, or if it's width and height, whatever they are. And how many of each rectangle do we have? 2. Okay. So what our formula becomes, that's what you need to write down. The 2 comes from there being 2 of everything. Length times width, that's the rectangle on the top and on the bottom. Height times width, That's the rectangles on the left side and the right side. And length times height. That's the rectangle on the front and the back. This is H. So that's the formula that you need to write down. And all we got to do to use it, okay, is fill in our length, width, and height. Okay, how many variables are there in that equation? 3. Okay, 3 variables. And each time you're going to be given 2. You'll always be given 2 out of the 3. Okay, does everybody have that formula? Okay. So this question says find the surface area of a box. Okay, using that formula I just gave you, where the length is 2, the width is 5, and the height is 6. Okay, so technically, length, width, and height, that's on one side of the equation. And surface area is on the other. So there's actually 4 things in this equation. That's example 3A. So I'm giving you length, width, and height. Okay, we're going to find the surface area.
That's the formula we need to follow?
Yep.
Alright.
Okay, let's fill it in. So the first part of the formula says to do your length times your width. What's our length times our width? 10. Good. Okay. What's our height times our width?
30.
Yep, 30. And lastly, what's the length
12.
times the height? Yeah, Sivan, how'd you get that? How'd you get that?
Length times the height,
Yeah, what'd you do?
2 times 6?
Yeah, you just do 2 times 6. Okay, let's add up.
104.
Okay, PEMDAS, do what's inside here first. 10 plus 30 is 40, plus 12 is
52.
52.
104.
Okay, you double it, and how much do you get, Marcus?
104.
104.
Wow.
Okay, what's the label on that? Does anybody know how you measure area? Square inches, perfect. Okay, so whenever you have a formula that has to do with area, if you calculate the area, it's square inches, square feet, okay, whatever your units are. Okay? This formula automatically takes into account all 6 sides.
Yeah, what is all about with the S and A?
SA just stands for surface area. Okay?
So like, I know, but when you did your answer, you did like equals, and then you put a 2, like, for me, like, intersecting power.
Okay, guys, I can't hear Tyler's question. Ben? I'll talk to you after class. Yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
Like, I don't understand why you put the equal sign in the answer.
The equal sign? So this is just surface area. You're just finding the surface area.
Instead of a letter, you just kind of...
Yeah, I just abbreviated it surface area.
Okay, and why'd you put that 2?
The 2, that's part of the formula.
No, not that 2, the other 2. The second power.
That's whenever you measure area, it has to be a square unit.
Oh,
When you measure area of something, it's square inches, square feet, square miles.
okay.
If you don't put the 2, what it means is you just measured a length or a width. Okay? So, in this case, we're measuring area. Okay, if you measure volume, a lot of times you'll see a 3 there. Inches cubed. Yeah. Yeah, Savan?
When you do volume, you put 3, right?
Yep, you do. We won't do volume today, but you would. Absolutely. Okay, any questions on that one? All right. So try that one on your own. Okay, find the surface area of a box where the length is 12 the width is 5, and the height is 4.5. Okay, first thing we have to do is identify the length, width, and height. Okay, so we've got our length, width, we've got our height. Okay, fill them in that formula. Okay, so when I write surface area, that's just an abbreviation, SA, surface area. Okay, let's start with length times width. What's 12 times 5?
60.
60. Okay. Plus height times width. Okay. 4.5 times 5 is how much?
20.5.
Good. Okay, and lastly, what's length times height?
54.
54. What's the next thing I have to do here?
Add them together.
Add them up. 60 plus 22.5 plus 54 gives me 136.5. Okay, and what's my last step?
Multiply by 2.
Multiply by 2, good. Okay, so we get 273 what? Inches squared. Good. Okay, any questions on that problem? Okay, so for tonight. Okay, so homework is 1 through 15 all on page 112.